Isaac Hardman here with FightHype.com. How are you, Isaac?
Very good, mate.
Just 6 weeks away, you've just been named. You're fighting on the Jeff Horn Tszyu undercard against Jamie Weetch. What can you tell us about that?
Stoked. It's the event that's going to restart boxing here in Australia. So Bob Arum's thinking about picking it up on ESPN. Massive platform. You know, everyone's going to be watching that. So for me to be on that card, it's got a lot of eyes watching, a lot of exposure. So when I perform like I'm going to, it's going to catapult me to where we want to be.
So for those who don't know, you actually used to be an MMA fighter. You've crossed over in 2017. Tell us a bit about that transition.
Yeah, MMA fighter, 9-0, 8 knockouts, very boxing dominant, 3 Australian titles. I'd been offered the UFC 3 separate times. Transitioned to boxing because it was more of a career choice for me. It made a lot more sense, the pay's a lot better, and it's a career. The slowly build up, and then we get the big paydays in the end.
What's it like fighting, obviously, on the Jeff Horn cards for DNL? You signed with DNL 3 years ago. It must be awesome exposure for you. Yeah,
signed with DNL around this time last year. Got on the Jeff Horn Zarafa, and again, Jeff Horn was a man that beat Manny Pacquiao at Suncorp Stadium in front of 60,000 people. So when he's on pay-per-view, people watch. So to be on his undercards and get that exposure is unreal. So I'll build my name off the back of his pay-per-views, and then people will soon realise it won't be Horn, it'll be Hardman up there in those lights.
What can you tell us a bit about, obviously we've seen the likes of Conor McGregor fighting Floyd Mayweather, potentially Conor maybe coming back and fighting boxers. What is the difference for you being an MMA fighter coming over to boxing? What have you found hard and what have you found easy?
For me, it's a little less stressful, the boxing, because I don't have to worry about, because my style was such boxing dominant. If you watch all my fights, I got 8 KO victories by my hands. Never shot for a takedown once, never kicked. So for me, I'm a solid boxer, and I can box. I got the fundamentals down pat. In saying that, never had an amateur boxing fight, but I know how to box. And that was my trump card in MMA. So moving over to boxing, it's a lot less stressful. I don't have to worry about getting taken down. I don't have to worry about getting elbowed or kneed or kicked. So it's a bit more of a walk in the park for me, this boxing stuff. It's good, and it pays so much more. So it's the way to go.
Because for those who don't know, you nearly did sign with the UFC?
Yeah, 3 separate times they asked me to take late notice fights, which is what they do. It's always late notice. They barely ever sign talent, with weeks in advance. It's always someone's hurt, because it's such a rigorous training regime, the MMA. It's so strenuous on the body. People get hurt in training camp and they just go, bang, who's the next 70-kilo guy? Can we get him in a week's notice? And it's 3 separate occasions, and I said no, because it's not the be all and end all. Everyone thinks all these young cats want to sign to the UFC and get millions of dollars. It doesn't happen. I guarantee it doesn't happen. Not even the best guys are getting what they deserve. So whereas over in boxing, I get to pick and choose. We got a schedule with DNL and the ABS boxing series with Dean Modigan. So we know when we go in camp. We know when we're scheduled to fight, because it's got to correspond with Foxtel and pay-per-view and main event. So it's a lot more structured for me, and that's what I like. That's what we need.
You're 6-0 now. Tell us a little bit about your opponent, Jamie Weetch, come August 26th.
Formerly ranked with the IBF, top 15 in the world, former opponent of Dennis Hogan, who went on to fight for 2 big world titles against Charlo and Amy Myunga. He went 12 rounds with Dennis. I got Fight of the Year 2018. We fought a good fight. So when I ironed this bloke out, put him on his back in 5 rounds, it's a big stepping stone for me. Knock someone out that was formerly ranked in the world. It just goes to show, it's going to show everyone that that's where I'm headed and that's where I'm going.
You're a 160-pound fighter. You're pretty keen to stay at that weight?
Definitely. I'm a big 160. These guys here in Australia, even I size up those guys over in America too. I'm as big as them. So I know it's a different kettle of fish over there. They're a lot bigger. But again, I come from MMA, which has a big history of cutting a lot of weight. So we know how to do it properly, and we've got it down to a science. So I can size these guys up and I can match these guys. I'm strong. I'm pushing around light heavyweights, cruiserweights in sparring. So I've got no problem with making the weight. I make it comfortably, and I'm strong there, and I'm big there. So we got it.
So what are we going to expect August 26th?
Jamie Weetch's toes are going to be pointing up to the sky, so he's going to be ironed out flat on his back. Knockout victory, head splitter.